Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video. So, y'all, this is really cool to see. I felt weird talking to somebody else's little kid. I told you guys that. Just because I feel like adults should always keep adult conversations between adults. But I do recognize when kids are kind of doing their own thing nowadays. And I don't know. It was kind of cool to see this, and it was kind of what I expected, which is why I want to meet the little girl's mom. Is because these little girls really do look up to me. It's something about me, the prettiness. I don't know what it is, but these little girls really do look up to me, right? So after I got done doing my live, the little girl hit me up and she's like, "Hey, I'm having a birthday. I really want you guys to come. This is where my birthday may be at, but I'll keep you updated." And she told me, "I really want to meet you. I want you to meet my mom, right?" And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to really touch on the mom subject because I don't want the girl thinking I'm like there to cause drama. Like, again, she said she was traumatized by the last mama. I don't want the little girl thinking that's my approach, right? Because it's really not. I don't have any dog in this fight. I am just wanting to ensure that I'm involved enough to protect my child. I really don't care about anything else, right? And two, I know that I can do it from a different approach because I know I have a level of influence. Like, all I need to do is get these girls and go have a girl day, and every girl, like, literally, like, I know I have a level of influence. I have that same level of influence with my own kid, right? So she's like, I said, well, listen, I would love for Ayana to come to your birthday party because I just got done saying that. I said, well, maybe it's better if I have an event or something and I invite her. The little girl was already on it, trying to figure out ways on how to get me in front of her mama, right? Um, so what she said, it's funny because she's like, maybe then you guys can talk, but I'll have to ask her. Okay, no worries. Like, I'm not worried about that. But I didn't touch on the mom part. I just left that out. I said, listen, I um I Ayana would love this. Ayana would like to come. I mean, I'm sure you girls, I'm just here to be supportive of your friendship, whatever that looks like, whatever I need to do to ensure that you girls are moving in a more positive direction in terms of friendships, right? And I know what y'all are thinking. You're like, well, she called your daughter a whore. Listen, I really believe when I'm talking to this kid, I really believe the child is going through something similar as my child because they're all the same age. The little girl does not necessarily know how to handle her anger, just as my daughter really doesn't know how to deal with it, right? And again, I think when you have women that are, again, it's not about me being like, they're not 4 and 5, right? They're preteens or going into that preteen phase, right? So I think, again, it's imperative that build that relationship outside of school. I've said this time and time again. Now, this little girl, again, if it wasn't a situation, let's say the girl was mean and always picking on my kid and bullying my kid, that's a little different. But what I think, from what I hear from her and from what I hear from my daughter, is these children are very much alike. And because they're spoiled, when one gets mad, they behave in a very spoiled manner without any regard for their friend in that moment, because they are like kids who are spoiled. It's all about them in that moment. They're not really thinking about the other kid. And I think, again, the importance of having these relationships outside of school is so that the children, because again, it helps the parents. I would assume the parents would be there until they get to a certain age, then the parents don't need to be involved, but you're still there as a level of guidance, right? If they need it, meaning that when they go through their arguments at school, right? There's a teacher there if they need to talk to that teacher. I bet you these little girls will talk to me, and I don't need to get involved. All I need to know is, okay, this is how you approach it next time. This is what you utilize next time. This is what you try next time, right? Giving all the girls tools on how to work together so that they can get along with one another, right? Because something I've always said to my kid, I love the fact, I don't really like the fact that she's a minority in her school, but I do like it in the sense that it allows you to be opened up to a different cultures, right? And it would be nice to see my daughter maintain her friendships as she grows older. But I very much, it's almost like, I feel like if we can hone it in just a little bit, not controlling the dynamics, but being there as a big sister, as a mentor type thing. I'm not, because I don't know that they would see me as anything else. Like my daughter has a hard time, I think, seeing me as her mom sometimes too. But having that older girlfriend that you can just go to, and that girl is going to be able to give you healthy advice on how to move forward, right? Because you got three girls here and they really do love each other. I think that my daughter is the centerpiece, meaning that both girls latch to my daughter. I don't think both of the girls have much of a connection. It's up to my daughter. The thing is, when my daughter gets a little bit older, and or when I start to see these relationships get better, then I can teach my daughter on how to bring them together and not like really maintain her friendships with both girls, right? Because I always used to be that girl. I had friends of all walks of life, all types when I was younger, and I was like the centerpiece of it all, right? And I'm the one that brought my friendships together. Now, as they died and fizzled out, they died and fizzled out. But I feel like my daughter is very much like me in her dynamics in terms of how she handles friends. But I do not want her following. Like I really need my daughter to understand you're the leader. So I have to trust, and I do trust my daughter. I trust that she's picking up the game, right? That we're giving her. When I was talking to the girl, everything she told me, even down the first thing she said to me, I didn't know if I told you, she was like, "Oh my God, you're super pretty. Like, are you my, so and so's mom?" And I said, "Yes." And she was like, "Oh, that's where she gets her prettiness from." The little girl really loves my daughter. I just think what happens is, and I understand that you got to know who your real friends are. I understand that dynamic. But I also recognize that these girls are still learning, right? They're learning. This isn't like they don't really know yet. They're still kind of like, it's almost like I'm trying, right? We're trying. So I feel as though if I could get the girls, as long as I get connected, and I don't need to be besties with the mom, I just want to meet her, right? I want to sit down, shake her hand, have that introduction with her so that when the girls have an issue, all three of them really, but I don't have to worry about the other one because her mama does a really great job, right? And right now, I have to keep the group separate. So if I take my daughter to hang out with one, I got to do it without the other one, right? So it's unfortunate that it has to be that way, but I feel like when you have somebody that the girls look up to, like a role model, right? It's easier to teach. Because initially, like I said, the little girl wanted to come at me with a whole, like, I'm not a little girl. First of all, yes, you are, girl. You too old, you too young to even be talking to me on TikTok. Like, that's the truth. You too young to be on TikTok, right? Your profile can't get banned right now because you talking to me over TikTok. But for the little girl to sit back and think about what I said and acknowledge what I said, and then come back and say, you know what? Maybe you should meet my mommy. On her birthday, she said, I said, well, yeah, I would love for you guys to get together and get along. I keep reiterating that because that's the focal point here, right? You girls can't get along. I'm not going to keep doing this because my child will listen. You see what I'm saying? My daughter had this little girl on block and everything. Like, mommy, we ain't doing this. My daughter listens because she looks up to me. And when it comes to the girl shit, my daughter eats it up. You know, I'm talking about makeup, looks, hair. Like, she eats that shit up. So do all of these other little girls that want to follow me on TikTok. I'm like, I don't even want to follow y'all back because it's weird. It's like I should have the relationship with your mom, not you. And not saying like a relationship, but I don't talk to little kids. And now I'm talking to little kids because I got a fucking little kid, bro. So, and they're not little kids, they're big kids, but it's little kids to grown people, right? So what she says, I said, well, yeah, I would love for y'all to get along and hang out and have fun. And she goes, well, I also want you to meet my mommy. That says a lot to me. It tells me that I have a lot more influence. I know I got the influence. So I asked my daughter, I said, listen, I said, how would you feel? Because the little girl was like, can you please have your daughter call me? I think I'm blocked. I think this, yada, yada, yada. Now, my daughter's got her daddy in her. So she don't, like, I'm telling you, my daughter moves like a man sometimes. She didn't care. I asked her, I said, hey, if I could, if you guys, I said, would you want to work on your friendship with her? My daughter instantly said, yeah. I mean, no hesitation, because she already, basically, the two little girls said the same thing about each other. The Spanish girl said, listen, I've known her for so long. That is like my friend. I feel like I'm losing her, and it feels sad to me. Like, I'm sad. My daughter said the same exact thing. I've known her for years. You know, it makes me sad. I don't want to necessarily stop talking to her. I hear both girls, but I still tell my daughter, you are not to talk to her, right? But after hearing the little girl talk, and and hearing my daughter talk, my daughter said the same thing, and that she just believes they're both alike. So I have not given any demands or ultimatums right now because I don't know the mom. I would like to at least introduce myself to the mom so the mom knows, like, hey, I'm here, you know, just so she knows. Because when these kids know an adult is watching, they fix their fucking tune. I swear to God they do. It's the shit that they do when they feel like nobody else is watching. Do you understand me? So the little girl went from I'm not a little girl to really being a little girl because I'm a mommy. You gon' understand I'm a mommy. You're gonna respond to me how I expect my little girl to respond. And I'm going to talk to you because you are a little girl. I recognize that you're a little girl. I don't know. I got a little girl, so I can relate to little girls a little easier. So if this is something y'all want now, maybe not at the birthday, right? Because at the birthday, for me, it's just to watch the interaction. Because at that point, I can either really pull the plug and say, nah, this ain't it, kid. Or we can start building that friendship outside of school. And I think that when I pose this to this girl, because I don't think any of the adults have, my daughter's primary parents are too old. And I think the Spanish parent is not connected enough with us to even want to reach out. And then the black parent, clearly the other one, I mean, no offense, she had no problem making her presence known. Okay, I'm just letting you know. But if I'm going to do what I'm doing with the black girl, why not try to do that with the Spanish girl? Now, it don't mean my daughter will be over there spending the night because that ain't an option. Okay. But when me and my daughter go do girl time, why not? Like, if the little girl wants to come hang out and I got a little extra money, why not? It's something we're supposed to be doing anyway. It's something that the CFI suggested that we start working on building friendships for our kid. But I am the kind of parent where my kid ain't just gonna be hanging out with no kid, anybody's kid either. So I do want to see the interaction between the parents, how the parents treat the child. It ain't my job to step in. I'm just observing. I can watch. I learn a lot from people just by watching, but I will never know if I never meet the mom. So when the little girl's now saying, no, I want you to talk to my mom, that's a complete difference than what you was telling me earlier, which tells me, because I've already explained it and she kind of explained it, which tells me she's a smart little cookie. That's what I told her. I said, you're a smart little girl. You know exactly why I want to talk to your mama. And part of it is she may be a little afraid, just like my daughter would be, right? If the teacher said, well, I want to talk to your mama, I would feel a little, I'd be like, what you want to talk to her about? I get it. But I think that in order for these girls, and again, I don't give a damn what other people do with their kids, man. But I really feel like you always got that parent that can reach out to kids a little bit differently. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I know that if these kids are choosing to follow me, like they're making the choice to follow me, there's something that's making them follow me. I know who they are because I see them all the time. I never really talk to them because I don't like talking to kids without their parents. It's weird. Or at least their parents knowing that I'm talking to them. So it was a bit weird. This conversation was awkward because I'm like, you're a fucking kid, bro, and you're fucking 10. Like, what are we talking about, right? But I also recognize the girl's 2 years older than my daughter because she's turning 12. She's 2 years older. That tells me off the rip something but I'm just gonna let it go for now. I want the kid. I trust my daughter enough to know that she's gonna come to me when she has an issue. And she's going to utilize, she's really soaking up the game that I give her, right? Really. Because the fact that she blocked this girl, she blocked her before I asked her to block her, and then had her unblocked this whole time. And then when I asked her, well, do you want to talk to her? Yep, I'll call her right now, mommy. That's what she said. So I told her, I said, I asked my daughter, I said, how would you feel about me meeting her mommy? My daughter gets silent. Okay. How would you feel about going to her birthday? Silent. Okay. Finally, my daughter reaches out and I said, if I could do with her what I want to do with you and Angel, right? I said, do you think that would help you guys as friendships? She said, yes, mommy. I said, okay. I said, well, would you like to, I said something to the effect of, would you like to give her a call? I said, well, when you're ready, I said, why don't you, reach out to her? She said, mommy, I'll do it right now. She said, as a matter of fact, I'll do it right now. So that's how you know. And the little girl's on the other end, please tell her to call me. Please tell her to call me. Please tell her to unblock me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I feel like I did what I set out to do, which was part of it. I want to set up myself. And like I told this other little girl, I'm not really here to choose sides. Like, I didn't really tell her all that, but I want to be a support of you guys' friendship, however that looks, right? I don't want to get in the middle of y'all shit, but I want to be able to help both of you. Meaning that if my daughter is acting an ass and you can't necessarily talk to mommy because mommy want to stay out of little kid drama, that's cool. If you want to come to me after I meet your mama, and you want to lay it on me, I'm not going to go back to my kid. This is what she said, yada, 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 because I did not go into that with my kid. My kid knows we talked. I didn't go into what we talked about. You see what I'm saying? I know I have my daughter's best interests at heart, and I'm pretty sure my daughter knows that too. So I did tell my daughter, the little girl and I chatted today. My daughter said, cool. All right, cool. So But what we chatted about, that ain't my business. That if the little girl want to tell her that, that's fine. That ain't my concern. I want my daughter to be happy, and I want this little girl to be happy. I'm a mom, and I just want them to have support. I feel like, again, I do care about kids, but it ain't my business what other little girls do, right? But as far as the dynamics with my daughter, I want to know who she's around. Yes, I do. She spends more time with these kids than she does her own family. Most of the time she has school half the time and sleep the other half. You see what I'm saying? I want to know what kinds of friendships she is making. And if I have to put it into it, I will. And I think what this showed all girls, well, not the, my daughter already knows. Like I said, my daughter falls in line. What it showed this other little girl is her parents got more power over my daughter's friendships than she understands. Now, obviously, that's not going to be forever. At some point, my daughter is going to start making up her own mind, and she going to have her friends whether I like them or not. You understand? But this is the phase of where she's learning. She's probably going through the most drama. This is the time where it's like I'm teaching her every single step of the way. And if I can help somebody else's little girl in the process, why not? Right? So I've made the call to allow my daughter, because I've already drilled it in my head. My daughter knows friendships. She knows, like I've been drilling it in her. It's on me to trust my kid that my kid is going to make the right move. Where my daughter is going to have the most trouble at is when the other two girls are fighting with each other and knowing how to stay out of that. I was always the friend that I'm going to let both y'all know in front of y'all together. Y'all acting like asses, and I ain't got time for this shit. You see what I'm saying? I love you, but I ain't got time for this. My name is Bennett, and I'm not in it. Okay. I was very vocal. My daughter is still learning her power. So I'm glad the little girl opened up to me. I felt very weird talking to her, but I've been wanting to talk to the little girl, to be honest with you. And obviously the little girl has been wanting to talk to me. The mom is who for me to feel comfortable enough to be able to say, hey, you know what, maybe that's not the best way to, like, for me to really start, doing what I feel like I need to do. Sometimes I have to meet the mom. I have to know that the mom's values are similar to mine. It just is what it is. They don't have to be identical, but in terms of how we raise our kids, it's imperative. Because your little kid is saying words like whores and shit. I need to ensure that this is not really something y'all are instilling in her, but something that maybe she's seen on TikTok, maybe YouTube, whatever. And now she's out of the presence of her parents and she thinks she can say and do whatever. Does that make sense? And I feel like if the little girl really wants to be my daughter's friend, they're going to work on it. Them two are going to work on it. They will work it out. They will figure it out. If not, they don't. But the problem with the Spanish girls are Spanish people stick together. Nothing wrong with that. But there's this other Spanish little girl is being influenced by other Spanish little girls. You see? And so what happens when the little Spanish little girls come up to her whispering in her ear? That's where I'd be like, I don't really know about this friendship. Okay. So I think it is important. I explained to the little girl I would love to get them together outside of school. One, because parents have a little bit more control. In school, you do not. When you pull the kids outside of school and you say, hey, let's go on a little play date. I don't know where. You figure it out. I'll take you. And then you get to watch how they interact with one another. You get to watch the hot and colds. You get to watch all of that. Sometimes the kid just don't know. She don't I really think this kid doesn't really know, and she admitted it. It's on my mommy, it's on the parents to teach us. Duh. But I can only help a kid that's receptive to learning. And it's not my job to come in there, hey, little girl, you need to start. No, that's not my approach. I'm very much the cool mom. I'm very much like the cool auntie. I give it to you on the other side. So you wouldn't even know until it's time. And then you have no, at that point, she'd be like, oh, I see what you're saying, just like how I do my daughter. So I think that's the right step. I think going to the birthday, like I told my daughter, would you like to go to the birthday? She said yes. Okay, well, now we need to get the little girl a present. And it's going to be a present. Maybe I get something for the mom just to say hi, just to force myself in her presence because I need to meet your mama. This friendship ain't gonna be like I really need to meet your mama. Because if you're not being raised right, you're never gonna treat my daughter right. If you're being raised right and you just hot and cold because you figuring out how to deal with your emotions, I can work with that. I can. Maybe not my kiddo, but I can. Does that make sense? Meaning that when we are, let's say I decide, hey, girls, y'all are in the house on a Sunday. Let's see, would your mom let me pick you up, and or would your mom like to go and take you to go to Yogurt Land or something? Maybe we can sit down and talk about each other's day. And I don't know. I don't fucking know. I've never done this before. I've never done this before. But I just think that when you have little girls that are close like this, and they don't really know how to be friends, but they're trying to be friends and they really want to be friends, it helps to have adults around, because from what I gathered, neither one of these girls really want to hurt each other. They just really don't know how to handle the emotions. And when I talk to my daughter, she says, yes, that's true, mommy. They get so upset and they don't know how to regulate it. And then they start saying things to each other that they don't mean. They start doing things to one another that they don't mean, right? And now you got parents upset because the parents cannot read that they're fucking kids, and they're going to fucking, they mess up and they make mistakes and they're going to learn their own path as they move forward. You also got parents who believe that they're supposed to be completely hands off, which I don't agree with that. I'm a very hands-on mom in that aspect. And I don't feel like I need to get involved with, like I said, when they're going, unfortunately, my daughter tells me the drama, but I don't feel like I need to choose sides in that. Unless my daughter is in some sort of danger or I can see the danger, and I'm very good at seeing that shit before it happens. This is why I always stress to have like a little bit more open relationship with my child, so she feels comfortable talking to me about things so that I can peep the danger before it happens. This was more of an intervention so that this little girl knows that somebody is watching. And if you want to be friends with my child, because I don't give a damn, listen, you ain't gonna be on my TikTok talking about how pretty I am and oh my God, this is where my daughter get it from. And you think you're gonna keep talking to her kind of crazy. Like that shit ain't an option. And I think this little girl, I could be wrong, but I think in that moment she kind of woke up like, hold up, okay, hold up, right? Because I don't gotta yell at you. I really didn't have to go into too much with her. She knew what I was talking about. She knew exactly what I was talking about. But like I told her, I'm not going to be there to tell your mommy. That's not my job. My job is to guide. And y'all are all the same damn age. I don't feel intimidated by now one of y'all. I don't feel like y'all going to take my life today, right? I feel like y'all are still coachable, trainable, teachable, right? And you guys just need help. And there should be a counselor at that goddamn school, but I don't know what the hell the counselor is doing. I am confident, because even when my daughter, I said, well, how do you feel about my me meeting her mom. My daughter took a little while to respond, but that could have been for anything, right? And then she says, good, which tells me maybe my daughter wants that. Obviously, the little girl wants it now because she said she wants it. And I think my daughter knows that when I get involved, she knows the level of influence I have. I think my daughter feels like if my mommy gets a little bit more involved, it would help. Because the little girl ain't gonna be talking to me crazy. She may talk to my kid crazy. She ain't finna be talking to me crazy. And she showed me that today. She has the utmost respect for me. So why not use that to my advantage? Not to make the little girl follow behind my daughter. No, 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 no. Not to influence either side when one is mad at the other. One, I want to know the little girl. I want to know her temperament, because if I'm to give my daughter advice and my daughter really wants to make this relationship work, it's got to work in terms of how to work through the relationship, how to work through that friendship. When the little girl gets mad, this is how you go. When she starts calling you names, this is how you handle this. And just like I told the little girl, I expect both of you guys to respect each other and treat one another the way you want to be treated. And I think that, like I said, the little girl, okay, okay. So imagine if we're at the mall and the two get into a little tiff, and I kind of, my daughter's going to come to me regardless. It's just, that's my daughter. If I sat the girls down, hey, 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 what's going on? I let both of them speak. Stop. You know what I mean? And then come in, hey, this is what I hear you saying. This is what I hear you saying. How can we move about that? Like really getting these kids to start thinking at a young age, because they about to be 16, 17, 18, 19. And little girls who do not know how to conflict resolve or resolve conflict grow up to women who don't know how to resolve conflict. Right? So it's not about, like I told the little girl, it's not about me getting in the middle of y'all. Like I really don't know what happened. I know 3 sides and I'm missing one other side to the story. I don't know what happened. I do know that my daughter ain't lying to me, and I didn't tell the little girl that because that's not my place. Again, I don't want the little girl to feel like I'm attacking her. I know my daughter's not lying to me about your behavior. But maybe if the thing is, I really want to be her friend, and my daughter goes through the same phase, the other little girls in the same phase, don't get it twisted. The idea is, I really want to be friends with her. I really want to make this work. Then I think that when things cross boundaries, because calling my child a whore was a boundary, even her daddy supported her not talking to this little girl. And her daddy has the approach of, we don't get in little kid shit. The whore word, that's a time where now we've crossed, like, that's a boundary. That's a boundary that is unacceptable. And these little girls, this is why these little girls, they get in these relationships and they think it's nothing to be called out their name and everything else, because they do not have women teaching them this is not okay. And when I told that little girl that, and I love these kids because they're so smart. This is what you guys, they're so smart. When she said, well, why do you need to speak my mom about something that's childish? And I'm thinking, you're such a little kid. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, you guys are such kids. I do not like kids. They're really kids, man. They don't know, right? And that was a good question. She asked me a really good question. And when I hit her back with, well, sometimes, little kids, y'all children like to cross test limits. You test boundaries. And when you test those limits, they need to be shown to you. People need to be telling you, this is not how you go about this. This is not the right way to move. Instead of doing this, you need to be doing this, right? Instead of using your words to cut somebody down, use your words to, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, be quiet. These are the things these kids are not hearing no more. And that is a problem. So when I tell her, well, yeah, children test limits, and when those limits are tested, it's on the adults to show you guys. And for her response, instead of arguing with me and everything else that she could have really done because I'm not her mommy, I said, somebody should be showing you guys how to regulate your emotions, how to speak to somebody when you're upset, when you're all this, like when you're frustrated. These are things that people, and she said, well, it should be on the parents to teach us, right? Exactly. My point. I want to talk to your mama. So it's cool because now I feel like I can really talk to this little girl. What I mean by this is whenever there's a situation, right? I don't want to go to the little girl. I'm never going to be like, well, what happened? Because that's not my place. My daughter tells me my daughter's pretty good at managing her relationships. The problem, though, is I think my daughter's a little too nice. And she allows people to get away with too much, right? Again, she's a baby. She don't know no better. She's learning. If I can help mitigate the damage in this relationship, I'm going to try. If I can be supportive in this friendship, I'm going to try. I know the little girl looks up to me. There's one more girl that I want to get in my crosshairs, y'all. I'm like, I need to meet her mama. Her mama's African. I already know who her mama is. I just ain't never talked to her. But I love this little girl to death. I had the pleasure of meeting this little girl, and because I go on field trips a lot with my daughter, and they put kids, and again, she's grew up with the same kids her whole life. So I always kind of have the same kids. She always has the same kids in her classes. I kind of have the same kids when we go on these field trips. So you get to know these kids. And a lot of these kids' parents don't be there. The Mexicans do, but not like it's different times today. I'm realizing. So the little girl that just recently started following me on TikTok. I have not reached out to her because I'm waiting on, I do not reach out to kids. They got to reach out to me first. We were at the museum and I'm in her group. That little girl held my hand the entire time. My little girl didn't hold my hand. My little girl was out doing God knows what. I mean, she was in my group, but my little girl was, it was so cool to see her operate with other kids with her mommy around, because there's a level of confidence my daughter had. Like her chest was held, like her head was held high. Like it was cool to see it, right? This other little girl bonded with me, like sat with me, was like glued to my hip the entire time. And I'm like, man, I would love to start a girls group, not on no weirdo shit, but just because I know I would do it a nonprofit, like a boys and girls club, but I know that I could really, and just with a handful of girls, like maybe every year they got to qualify or something, I don't know what that would look like, but just a handful of girls that I just really help to make a difference in their life as they get older. I just want to be like that big sis, you know what I mean? But somebody who's going to give you sound advice, somebody who's going to lead you on the right direction, somebody who's going to tell you, no, that might not be the right way to go. Maybe you should try this way. You know what I mean? I just want to be what I didn't have growing up. When I was young, I didn't have role models. My mama was too mean for her to be a role model for me. My role models were like Maya Angelou, people I had never met before, but I loved their story, what they were about, what they stood for, right? I think it's time to make role models a real thing for little kids, because and I wish I would have started this sooner, even at like 4, 5, 6, maybe not 4 or 5, maybe more like, nah, I think this is the perfect age, because this is when they really start making friends. Like they always have friends, but everybody's their friend when they 4, 5, 6. They don't know no better. But as they start getting into this age, I'm realizing that's when the problems start kind of coming in a little bit. Maybe fourth grade. Fourth grade, I think, is when it really starts. So I'm proud of myself. And I know my daughter is she's probably really confused right now, like, what the heck? But that's why I told her, I said, I had a chat with this little girl. My daughter was like, oh, okay. Like, my daughter was like, oh, like, I don't know what my daughter is thinking. And I will know more when I pick her up. But my daughter didn't, I know these parents say, well, ask your child first. No, the little girl reached out to me and I told her how I felt. And we can work through this or we cannot. It's up to you, but you ain't talking to my kid until I say so. So, I just want to give y'all that part too. I think we should do the birthday thing. And I don't think it should be dad. I believe it should be me to take her. Because I am more age appropriate in that regards. I have a little bit more patience and I know what I'm looking for. I'm there on a mission, not really for this birthday, right? I want the girls to have fun together. I want them to hang out together, but I want the mom, just like that other little girl's mom has my number. I need her mama to have my number, her mama to know who I am, just in case, right? Because nowadays, like I said, these kids are going through shit. They're taking their lives, right? They're and granted, my daughter's friends may change. She may not have the same friends as she gets older. That's okay, right? But now she will know how to fully navigate that without me. All my job is to facilitate. There you go. That's a good word. Facilitate. And to be aware of, because again, let's say for example, the mom's ghetto, she don't really look after her kid. My heart will go for that kid, but baby, you staying away from that kid. And I will show her when we get in that car after that birthday. Oh, I will be showing her all the things that I saw. My daughter is very attentive too. And I would explain to my daughter why I don't want you being friends with her. And that's how that's going to go. So when I see my daughter again, I'm going to have that conversation more in depth so she understands what this really is. Right now, it's okay for her to talk. She understands that this is your friend. You could be, the goal was for her to never not talk to the girl. That's really what it was. I did tell her keep an open mind, because when this black girl switches schools, my daughter still has to go to this school. So I don't want her burning bridges with the other little girls if we can work it out, right? But they need to know this behavior it will lead to a blocking. It will lead to me saying, nope, I don't want my daughter hanging around you. And that's what it will be. So I'm real happy. I'm glad that worked out. I was like, damn, I'm not trying to jump in, but I know that these little girls are seeking. There's no reason your kid should be following me. There's something that little kid sees in me that they're not seeing elsewhere. And I don't know if it's just maybe I'm real pretty, because little girls really are attracted to that, by the way. And not attracted in that kind of way, but little girls, I was driving, me and my daughter, my top was down. I'm driving, my daughter sitting in the front seat. There was a little girl about her age in a truck next to me, right? And she kept looking at me, and finally waved. And I waved back at her, right? And I smiled. Little girls, I think honestly, I can't even say little girls, because I got grown ass women who really follow behind me. It's weird. So, if I can be an influence, if I can help some little girls learn friendships, learn how to maintain friendships, learn who their friends are, not really who their friends are, that's not my job. But if I can teach them how to learn who their friends are, how to be a good friend, I would say my job with them is done. And then make sure they have a good time. Kids deserve to have a fun time. They deserve it. I don't know why, but they're fucking kids, bro. They deserve to live life. So, like I told the little girl, if I want to go to the mall, because me and my daughter do fun shit all the time. That's just what we do. So if I'm going to Dave and Buster's, why couldn't you go? If I'm going to Nicola play with my kid, it's always just me and my kid. If I got another little girl that can go with us, why not? But in order for that to start happening, I really have to meet your mommy and not just wave at her from across the room. I got to go up, introduce myself, and talk with her. Yes. The rest of that I can handle. The mama can come too. I don't care. But I know that if the mama came, that little girl my daughter would want to hang out with me. That's the thing. This is how this works. My daughter knows I'm a load of fun. So even if she was with other girls, my daughter wouldn't necessarily leave me to go hang out with the little girl. She's not in that phase yet. Okay. Meaning that my daughter would 9 times out of 10 be hanging with me, and the little girl will want to hang with my daughter. So the little girls are going to be with me. That's 9 times out of 10 how I see that in most situations. My daughter may also, because she loves attention, want to hang out with the other mom. You know what I mean? My daughter's a bit fickle in that. It's cool. I don't mind it. My daughter is cool. So I just want to give you guys that part 2. We'll see what happens, man. Like I said, I'm not here to tell these little kids what to do, but I think that the more adults that can be a little bit more hands-on with these kids, not just sending them to school and, hey, that's it. No, because what's happening is another reason why these kids are talking in the way that they talking is because nobody's paying attention to what they're doing. My kid got a whole phone. I'm like, how many times do they go through your phone and watch and look at what you're, sending out and all that? I asked my daughter when she's in the middle of texting, who you texting? That's exactly what comes out of my mouth. Or what they say. That's if you think that I don't be asking them, yes, I do. I just do it in a way that doesn't seem intrusive. So, I'm happy for the girls. Hopefully they can make up. This is going to be their relationship is going to be hot and cold. It always is. But as long as this is what my daughter wants, okay, cool. My daughter, I'm telling you now, she knows exactly why I want to meet her mommy, right? She knows what I'm doing. She knows the purpose behind what I'm striving to do, because we've already had this conversation with the other little girl. It's just the other little girl's mama is in agreement fully. She said it. The other little girl's mom, I really just don't know to even know if this is something that she would want to help facilitate. But I think it would be cool. It'd be nice if they had a little white girl up in there too. Shoot, I'm just saying that would be cool. So that's all I gotta say, y'all. I just wanted to give an update because I don't want to. Again, I don't know what other moms do. I don't know. I just know what I think feels right to do, right? And I know myself well enough to know that I don't have to pop off to get my point across. So I'm not going to make this little girl feel, and obviously I made her feel somewhat comfortable. If she's like, now I want you to meet my mama, I think she was trying to figure out a way for me to meet her, right? Me calling her. I mean, I get it would be a little weird because then the mom don't know if I'm a snap off and pop off, or she don't know. So the more formal way to meet her would be at an event. So we'll see how this goes. It ain't my first rodeo partying with some Mexicans. It won't be my last. So, and my daughter fits right in. I mean, I know they don't always like us, but I'm not there for everybody. I'm there for the little girl and to show my support. That's it. So that's all I gotta say, y'all. I don't think that's asking for too much. And I think that when parents are mature, and I say mature for a reason, You should be able to do that, right? You know your daughter hangs out with these three friends and you know that they really get along. They be talking all day and night. But anytime they don't get along, it's a big deal, right? To them, not really to us. Well, maybe then the parents probably should facilitate a play date, because it's like this. If you were as babies, as young kids, right, when you're dealing with toddlers and stuff like that, and you put them on a play date, you take a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, take them on a play date, right? I would assume both parents at that point, when you're on that play date and that little 4-year-old hits the 3-year-old or snatches something for the 4-year-old, you mean to tell me that that conversation ain't being had in front of them kids and the other parent? You see what I'm saying? It's easier to navigate those situations, whereas in school, you don't know what's going on. So you can only give your advice, but you don't really know who's the aggressor, who's the instigator. You don't know because you're not physically seeing it. So when you put the situation and the dynamics in front of you, especially at a time where they're soaking it all up, they're learning from their experiences. This is that age, right? So that when they go into middle school, they already knew how to do this over here. They had help before they got to middle school. So now they're in middle school, they already know, okay, this person's not really my friend. Okay, this person may be a friend, but their temperament is a little hot and cold. How do I work around this? They will already know because they had people helping them when they were at this age. You see what I'm saying? I just think that because of the severity of these kids' emotions, that's the biggest thing right now, is their emotions. It's not that these kids are bad. They really don't know where to place their emotions. They get so upset because they're spoiled. That's the thing. So if you take something from me and I'm a spoiled child, I'm flipping the fuck out because I'm spoiled. How dare you take it from me? Right? That's just part of being a kid. And it would be nice because if I would like to see the girls get along for at least, let me say, give me 6 months, right? I want to see them, and I know that's a long time, but that's because I got to work this other parent to get her kid around the other little girl. And if she don't want her kid around the other little girl, cool, that's fine. But I know that other little girl and this little girl, they get along too. They just had a moment. They always have moments. So what can we do to minimize the moments? You know what I mean? That's all. So let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. I know it's a different approach. Like I said, I don't want to be too involved. Like even the little girl, she didn't really go into nothing that went back and forth. She's just talking about rumors because she know damn well she done did a couple things that an adult wouldn't really be okay with. She knows this. That's why school told me not to listen to rumors. I'm just letting you know, kid. This is what I know about you. So if this is not how you want me to know you, and like I told her, because she's commenting on how pretty I am, right? Well, remember, pretty is a package. It's not just your looks. It's how you treat others too. It's all about your attitude, right? So if you're talking and you using words like whores and shit, that ain't pretty. You feel me? So little girl understood. I said everything I had to say without saying it. I went in, I didn't go into no detail about he say, she said. I don't care. I know my daughter. I know when my daughter's lying, and I know damn well when you did that, it was not a lie. And I've been having a bone to pick with this little kid about them words because my daughter she ain't at that age yet. She don't really know what it means. You don't know shit about a whore or a hoe. She don't even like boys yet. Not like that. So, yeah. Then you got these little girls growing up mad fast. That's another thing. These little girls are thinking they fast. They got boyfriends. Nah, nipping that shit in the butt. You think I'm wealthy? You think I'm pretty? Score. So how do I show you how to be like me or how to be better than me? Right? It's mentorship. And that kid don't have to be your kid to mentor them, man. I know these kids look up to me. They follow me on TikTok. If I'm pretty and you think I'm wealthy, then hey, I think that's enough influence right there until you don't like me. So I'm excited because I've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to take her girl group and like, I just feel like I know how to, I just want to, I feel like I could really influence them in a positive way. That's it. So that's all I got to say, y'all. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this, right? Because I know a lot of parents are hands off, right? And I agree with that. But I also think it should be done in a safe place. And I don't believe the school is the safest place all the time. And I think it becomes harder for the parents to navigate those drama situations when you don't know the kid. You know, you ain't met their parents. You don't know how they live. I don't need to see your house, but I can tell by your demeanor and your actions who you are. And I don't need to say shit. All I need to do is direct my kid to do what I need her to do, and she gonna do it. That's it. So it's time, you guys. I'm excited. This is what the CFI said to do. It's interesting how I'm not even the primary parent, but I'm damn near you. Like, I'm doing all the primary parent shit, right? It shouldn't be on me to be initiating these relationships and these connections. That's what they are. It should be on them. They should have been offered. Well, you got a birthday, invite the people you want to come over. Like, it should have already been established like that. But since the girls trust me a little bit more, which I noticed that, again, they gravitate towards me a little bit more. So it's probably easier for me to create these connections with the parents than perhaps dad or his girlfriend. And I recognize that. I knew the little girl's parent mama, right? I know her from way back in the day. And I want to know the other mama. I don't need to be best friends with you. You don't need to be calling me every day, but I need to know I can call on you. If something happens to your child, I need to be able to call you. If we're out and about and something happens, they're at the library, I need your number, right? I mean, I'm just saying. So that's where I'm at, y'all. That's all I got to say on the matter. I'm out. Peace.